Thank you, Karan. Thanks for my inclusion. Good morning to all. I think let me start with making a statement. I think we doctors are very strange people. Okay, we always believe in the aphorism that Vaidyo Narayano Harihi to the very letter and spirit. But we also have a sense of infallibility that we cannot go wrong at times. We always do a great job. We always do the right things. Okay. But, and also, nobody, I repeat, nobody can be unhappy with our work. But the reality is something totally different. Okay. When we practice, we do have patients who are unhappy, who are grumpy, who are dissatisfied, who are absolutely, not happy with the work. They don't carry the good word around. And especially in the present times when the commerce has made a foray into the healthcare, which was earlier based on absolute trust and hero worship. Patients are basically consumers. So consumerism has swept into our healthcare in a big way. And obviously, when you are providing a service, there will be always some patients, some consumers who will not be happy with the service, whom we cannot meet their expectations. So you will have some dissatisfied patients, sometimes a patient who can never be satisfied. I think with that, we try to kind of deconstruct the insatiable hypochondriac patient. And Karan has told that these are the things which we scratch our head. I think I have scratched it too much and lost, I think, a little bit of hair for the last 25 years. I think if you deconstruct this, this so-called the insatiable, dissatisfied, never satisfied patient, I think the visual complaints is the most important thing. Many patients, especially the old population, the old age, the patient population, always complain that they can't see well, more so after an operation, after a procedure, after a laser treatment, after an intravitreal injection. It's most common because I've asked my ENT friend whether they bitterly complain about their hearing deficit. It doesn't happen that way. Probably our faculty of vision is probably far more important. The vision blindness is more incapacitating for that age, probably. That is the reason why this is the most common symptom. And most of them forget their age. I think in the treatment of this, we need to really bring them to their understanding that age is also a factor. Like any other, reduction in the faculty, the acuity of hearing or thinking, cerebration, reading speed, their vision is also probably getting affected by their vision, by their age. That is something that sometimes the reading speed or problem in reading is not because of the changes in the retina or the macula or the optic nerve, also in the prefrontal cortex and the visual cortex, which is actually not a part of, what we cannot really do anything about it. I think this is very important. So whenever you do any procedure, like you do a multifocal lens, they probably forget the convenience they got by reading unaided, but also look at only stars, the photic phenomena. So the visual shortcomings are only normally carried to the OPD. They never appreciate the right thing that has happened. And watering and intention, a very constant complaint of the elderly. They really revel, they enjoy probably complaining that they have watering, they have problems, and most of them are very non-specific and vague. It is something that we all agree that we cannot really fix this problem to its entirety. We cannot satisfactorily cure this watering problem in the elderly. At the same time, it is usually because of the changes in the adnexa, the laxity of the lid or the punctal problems, and the so-called the lacrimal pump has failed because of senility, and the patient keeps on coming. The problems usually because of why the dissatisfaction happens is that normally we do not say this in the first go. We normally try to pass off the patient by prescribing some astringent drops or something else, artificial tears, and patient hopes that probably things will get fixed, and it does not happen. He keeps changing the doctors, eye drops multiple times, which mounts to the position where he really becomes dissatisfied. And my residents always overdiagnose MGD. In fact, in every patient, they find an MGD. But at the same time, the other spectrum is we do miss the real MGDs, which are the real culprits for this watering irritation, which is probably to us always a treatable aspect of this constant irritating complaint. I think when you put a multifocal in a patient, whether it is middle-aged or old people, many times if your case selection is wrong, if your pre-surgery counseling is not proper, if you have not picked up those patients whom you should actually put them out of this game, it's a highway for disaster. Okay, it's very important. The most important contraindication, a patient who is hyper expecting from his surgery, asks too many questions, and you find that this patient is neurotic, this patient has many problems in his life and is finding an outlet, and you create an outlet, you create a reason for him to complain, and you kind of, take the whole blame later on. So that is the most important contraindication apart from the ocular things, which forms the signs. It's a high stake situation. And I have seen, this is my recent experience, patients whom I have done a lot of restores or PanOptics or where the packages are much higher, the patients are a lot more unhappier. When I started doing, I started doing a lot of biotech trios, and which are at the lower package, when the patient pays less, their dissatisfaction levels are little on the lower side. They are actually happier with this multifocality or trifocality. Probably this is where we're missing the thing. The money is something that probably is the underlying thing. The patient has paid a lot of money, he thinks, and that is why they're much more unhappier with the problems. So when you want a lot of things, you will be unsatisfied. The patient wants less, he expects less from an outcome, from the procedure, probably he will be. I think few things are very important. You should always think that there are always some dissatisfied patients. See, when you treat a patient, there are many patients who have the depression. See, their low serotonin is not your problem. They have OCDs, obsessive compulsive disorders. There are patients who are attention seeking. There are patients who are agitated and unhappy in life for many other reasons. So your treatment, if you do not really look into that, that is something very important. And never try to have 100% satisfaction rate. It is something totally unrealistic. It never happens. There are always patients who are unhappy. And I think very important thing is primum non nocere. Whenever you are treating a patient, do not give a bloated, expectations. Always, firstly, do no harm. Don't do a procedure telling that this may work, this may help, especially if it involves a lot of money. And sometimes if it gets the other way around, the first thing is don't try to do any harm to the patient if you can't do any good. That will go a long way in preventing a bitter feeling or a dissatisfaction. I think you should start acknowledging your patients and appreciating the satisfied patients to balance the thing. I'll give some 5 tips. I think when a patient comes, you always smile. No matter how grumpy the patient looks when he walks in, you always smile. Okay, you kill him with your kindness and notice and appreciate them. That is very important. The patient has come to the rain and is a little wet. If you don't notice, oh, you're wet. So that is a basic soft skill. You have to appreciate people. Many people want to get acknowledged, want to get noticed. Whatever is special about them, you have to notice and appreciate them. This will probably break the ice and try to reduce the hostility. Very importantly, we're all bad listeners. The first rule of a good communication is to shut up and listen to the patient. Just be a good listener. Try to let him vent out. It's a catharsis that happens. Patient just wants a patient, ear. Okay, just to pour all his vent, all his anguish. I think that probably goes a long way in trying to solve this problem. And try to know about the patient. Any unsatisfied patient, know everything about them. When you come back, refer to those things. Ask him about his son who is doing post-graduation. Ask about a daughter who is in America. Ask about that had gone last visit, they told her they're visiting Europe. Next time ask, how was your Europe trip? That will probably change the whole situation. I think it's very important that you don't try to scale up or, rise the conflict levels. Always try to diffuse it. Waiting time is a major source of dissatisfaction, very important thing. And always this happens whenever it is an unwarranted waiting. The patient has been asked to come at 9 and you report at 10 is not right. If there's an emergency that you're stuck in the OT, you are come at 8 o'clock, it's fine. Always explain the patient why the patient is waiting and always create a value. I always ask one golden question to the patient. Even the simple thing like a perimetry, I tell the patient that would you like to have it today or would you like to have an appointment? Obviously, the patient wants to get it done today and go back, especially from an outstation patient. So he will always think that, okay, there may be that For some reason, the patient may want to actually go back and come some other time. So without asking that question, assuming that the patient wants everything today, even if you do 100 procedures in a day without explaining and creating a value for it, he will always think that he has been waiting from morning. So that is a very thing. Just tell every patient, would you like to have it today or would you like to take an appointment? That will create a value for waiting for procedures. I think post-op scenario is basically that you create an unrealistic expectation. And it's the mindset I told you, even if you have an endophthalmitis, you can end up a happy patient once things get all right. But patient with a 6/5 vision with absolutely fine thing, patient can be absolutely miserable at the end of the thing. I think this is where you have to be watchful, try to understand their mind rather than just not the eye. I think every patient, always I told you, looks at the negatives of a surgery. Don't look at the positives. A high myope is he's just looking at his near vision problem, not that he's 6/6 unaided. So patient feedback forms go a long way in getting this right. I think the final cut is make a genuine attempt to analyze this standard. Don't brand them as functional patients or hypochondriacs. Interpersonal relationship, soft skills go a long way. And at the end of the day, there are always unhappy patients. Maintain your calm, pragmatism, and equanimity. That is the most vital thing for a happy and a healthy life for you. So thanks for a very patient hearing. Thanks, Karan.